some stuff that they need in storage. Just like exactly. Goodness, I don't really feel like
You guys don't have the black ball?
I swear. Do we have a moderator for this panel, or do we just begin?
Everybody's not here. Oh, here they come, here they come.
Alright, this is Barbie's. We'll wait for Barbie to come back. Get this sucker started. Where is he? You're just the first one with a question.
Hey, we're ready to start.
Sure.
Are we ready?
I guess they'll join us midway through.
Okay. Welcome to the villains panel.
Oh, come on now. There are two reasons people watch the Power Rangers, the costumes, and the villains. This is the villains panel!
We like to make you work. So what are we doing? What are we introducing ourselves?
I think we probably should.
Introduce yourselves.
Oh, okay.
Why don't we start from that end of the table? We're introducing ourselves.
Oh, we're introducing ourselves. Hi, my name is Sabrina Lu, and I played Scorpina on the second season of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, an episode called Goldar's Vice Versa.
Hi, my name is Christopher Cho, and I don't know how to read or watch. I was Dark Specter in Power Rangers in Space, and I was Nukus in the Big Bad Beetleborgs.
Hello, my name is Ransik Prince. I was many villains, but probably most notably Elgar and most notably Elgar and Treacheron. Yeah.
Yeah, my name is Marshal Hilton. I was the crazy cartoonist Les Fortunes.
Oh.
Metallix.
My name is Kaplan. I played lots of hench villain people types and spent the season as Diabolico. And a season as Gluto on the Lost Galaxy.
Hi, I'm Barbara Goodson, and I spent a couple of years as Empress Rita! Sprocket! And Orbis, and a couple of others.
I'm Robert Axelrod, and I played Finster and Lord Zedd. And also a few monsters in the first season, too. Elgar and Guy and
I'm David Stenstrom in Power Ranger Zero. I was King Mondo.
Kerrigan Mahan, Goldar.
Yes, Empress!
I'm not even sure why I'm here.
Just kidding.
I'm Vernon Wells and I play the little character called Ransik, I believe. In Time Force. For a week or so.
And I wasn't able. Well, one has to have something large in one's hand.
Besides,
I guess if we got questions, otherwise we'll just chat amongst ourselves.
I'm not going to stop you, but I was wondering something. I was just wondering because I watch you guys all, I've seen you guys have all these master plans as you're doing it, so I want to know, and I'm sure everyone else wants to know, if you finally get rid of all these guys, what would you do? Would you throw a party? Would you dance on a grave? What would you do?
That's a little deep. You're too stupid to answer
I
that.
think it's pretty basic. The show's been on for 20 years, so obviously you would have had a 15-year run as the Rita show. Rita Repulsa and Friends, starring Bullwinkle. Big.
Well, you see what happened once I became, well, no, I didn't get, oh, yeah, that's right, I didn't win, I just got good. Forget that.
Well, I had it all planned out. There was 3 women I was having sex with. I didn't care. I was keeping a couple of those rangers alive, believe me. But apart from that, my daughter was pretty good.
Right, so, hey guys, how you doing? First of all, I think I speak for all of us, we love having you here. So a bit of a question and a voice request for the whole panel. So first of all, what exactly made it so good to play the villain, first of all? Because I imagine that's a whole lot more fun.
Not being in this suit.
Speak for yourself.
Chewing scenery is always fun.
Yeah, second of all, a little bit of an announcement, because I'm getting married in a few months. Here's just some well wishes as your characters.
What's
your name? Joe.
Joe and Rachel.
That's my lovely fiance. Congratulations. Joe and Rachel.
Joe and Rachel, I wish you the very best.
Is that the camera up there?
Joe and Rachel, this is Nukus, Overlord of the Second Dimension. Have a fantastic ceremony and a great life together. What's your name? Joe and Rachel. Oh, yeah. Don't kill me, I'm your favorite nephew!
Back again, Joe? Didn't Rachel get enough the first time?
Joe and Rachel, don't go to bed angry. If you do, have fun.
Joe and Rachel. Upstage me and I'll turn you both into the size of a peanut and fling you into outer space.
Consideration. The evilness pass you by like water off a duck, and if it doesn't,
underestimate. I just need to remind you, Diabolico is an excellent name for a first child.
My question is for Sabrina. You probably get this question a lot, but I was just wondering why you were only available for one episode of the show.
Because she was 5 at the time. As you can tell.
Well, you know, I actually read that online that I wasn't available, but I promise you, if they had called me, I would have done it. So I would have been back. I will still come back, actually, if for some reason they can work that in somehow in the plot line. So I never abandoned the show. They probably misplaced my phone number. You know how that happens back when we had landlines and
Thank you.
First of all, I'd like to say it's an honor being in the presence of such excellent villains. I grew up watching you guys, and your villain, you will always be iconic, ranging from Rita's anger to Diabolico's obsession with the star power and anywhere in between. I was going to ask if you could do like a little bit of your roles as a follow-up question, but clearly you guys did that a little bit already. but my main question is, when you first auditioned for your respective villain roles, did you know that, were you thinking that this is like the specific villain you wanted to play, or is there another role you wanted to play? And even after you got cast, what did you do to prepare to, between takes, to play your villain?
Well, I have a quick answer for mine anyway. I went in and basically we read some stuff, and then a few of us came back and they had us try on the suit, and I fit the suit, I guess. So that's pretty much entire qualification. So, and then I got to watch some of her stuff from the original Japanese footage, so to get a kind of a clue of who she was. But it was neat. It was really fun.
Much like what she said, I think a large part of why I got cast was A, I fit the suit, and B, I looked a lot like the Japanese footage that was coming over, so I'm sure that helped. When I actually did the audition, I had no idea who the character was, I didn't know anything about the storyline at all. She just said, I need you big and foreboding and dark and menacing. So I said, well, kind of like Darth Vader. And she said, yeah, like Darth Vader, without the mask. So I took off my shirt, buttoned just the top button, and used it as my cape. And did the reading that way, and the director and producer said that caught their eye. So I like to think that that's what got me in, but I think the truth is I fit the suit.
It's very Johnny Bravo.
I'm one of the original, along with Bob Axelrod and Barbara, and it's really strange the way it happened. I don't remember Barbara being in the room, and Tony's not here with us right now, but Tony hauled us all in. We're all kind of a club at this point, and we've been doing, whatever all those other shows were that Saban did prior. We taught him everything. He knew nothing about any of it. And these are the shows prior to Power Rangers. So Tony brought us into the studio, and he brought Mike Sorich, who's not here today, Dave Mallow, and Tony kind of already pretty much chosen who was going to play what in this promo. And he kind of divvied out the roles like cards. And everybody got their role but me. And I'm standing there going, well, whatever. I guess I'm not going to get a role. Which was okay, whatever. Then he says, oh yeah, Kerrigan, you're going to do this guy with these wings. I don't think he has much of a part, but I think he'll do okay with the voice on him. I said, okay. And he popped up, and I think I had one line in the promo. And that's pretty much how it went down. I didn't think the thing was going to go. It seemed really weird, and I thought, we'll never have to do this again anyway, so. Nailed that. And I'm sure some of you recognized over the first season that my voice, a lot of people think, oh, somebody else did it the first season. No, that was me trying to figure out what the hell I was doing. So I went down into this little basement that I had, realizing that I couldn't sustain the voice. I didn't know what I was doing with this voice, and it was killing me. It's like, I can't sustain this. And so sometime in the first season, I went down to the basement and decided it was time to figure out how to make it work. And I spent about an hour with it and figured out how to get a lot of air into the voice and kind of rolling over the chords, and that's where Goldar was found, in my basement, where I played drums, you know, as a ham and egg 4/4 time drummer to different songs, and I figured out how to do it, and it was a relief. And I knew when I had it, when I hit it, I was like, there it is, and I could record it in about 45 minutes, and I was, you know, still good. After that, though, that was it. I had a 45-minute rule. So that's where that's where the casting of all these characters came from, out of that room. And the show went, and we all wound up playing the roles we were handed. And we were literally handed those roles. And there you go.
The only reason why I'm sitting here amongst these many talented actors is because I cold called. I didn't know who Saban was. I didn't know what Mighty Morphin Power Rangers was. But I was looking in Hollywood Reporter, and I was calling a bunch of production companies because I was looking for a job. And the person on the other end of the phone, who's no longer with us, but Karen Carter, is responsible for me probably being here right now, because she took a chance on me and asked me to come in. And the first job I got was Auric the Conqueror.
I got a call that the show was looking for some whacked out cartoonist. And I wasn't really that familiar with the show, to be honest with you, and I mean, I was familiar with Power Rangers, but Beetleborgs was relatively new, and so it kind of happened where, I mean, this is how it actually happened. I was ready to do it, and I woke up and I had really bad head. My hair was freaking all over the place, and I said, you know what, I'm gonna go with it. So I spiked up some of my hair. And I did the first reading in Burbank. I had no idea. I just went and did the reading, and that's cool. And I left, and they called me back. And I had the second reading out at the studios in Valencia. And Bob, Hughes, and all the production people were in there, and they had this big conference room. Tables, and there was like 10 people in there. And I went in and I did this Les Fortunes guy. And we did, my audition piece was when he got cartoonist cramp. Oh, cartoonist cramp! Ah! And I had this part, and I got this cramp in my hand, and I was just flying all over the room because that's what they really wanted. They wanted some guy that was out of his mind, so I was just out of my mind. And I flew back against this wall, and there was a wall right behind me. There was a picture frame on the wall, and it fell down and it cracked, and it broke. So it did. I flew like I just cramp, bam! They fall down, picture breaks, and I was like, oh shit. And I continued to sing, and the producer just went like this. He goes, that was perfect, dude. I guess they wanted somebody that would kind of just lose their mind, you know, and fly around. And I got done doing the reading, and then we talked about it. And then they wanted me to do it again. And he said, you gotta remember who the audience is. I said, well, who's the audience? He says, well, they're kids. I said, okay. So fast is funny. Fast is funny, okay. So really what they wanted was somebody that would talk fast, say fast stuff, slide around, fall down, bang against walls. And they thought I was the guy. And I got the part. And and then after that, it was just like you just hopped onto a moving train. They were already shooting, and next thing you know, you're showing up, they're giving you your outfit, and we did 40, 50 50-something, something like that. And, but I will tell you what, for me personally, I kind of forgot about the show. You know, I've been busy doing a lot of other things. And the first year they had this thing, I didn't know what to expect. And then this year, I gotta tell you something, this is fantastic. You guys are amazing. Seriously. I had a guy come up to me who had found me on either MySpace or Facebook years ago. And he sounded depressed and wasn't doing so well. And it was concerning, you know, and I'm detached. This guy is talking to me, he knows about everything that I've done, and, you know, I'm in my old world doing whatever I do, you know. And so I felt weird, so I asked him for his address, and I sent him a letter, and I sent him a headshot, and I signed it. This was 3 or 4 years ago, or more, 5 years ago. And he walked up to me yesterday, and he handed me a book. It's a little book that he published, his own writing, it's his own story, he's trying to sell. And he said, I wrote this book because of the letter that you wrote me at the time that you sent it to me.
Oh, wow.
That's amazing shit. Okay? I mean, it seriously is. Another girl who's here in the front row, Emily, she brought me a portrait yesterday. And she said she draws at Disneyland. She's a character artist. And she drew this amazing portrait of myself as the character. And you know what? What we do is because of you guys. I mean, this is, to think about doing a show 14 years ago, and you guys are here right now, it's freaking amazing. You guys are awesome. And I would say probably the best part of it so far, and this is, the show seems to be growing. We only did 2 seasons. These guys did 15, Power Rangers. A guy was standing in front of me with his son, and his son was telling me all about the show. The guy was young. He was telling me like he'd been watching the show. He was telling me shit about the show I didn't even know. Okay? And I asked him, I said, how do you know so much about the show? He says, Netflix. I said, what? He says, Netflix. I go, how old are you? 12. Really? You know, we shot the show, you weren't born. Seriously, and his look on his face was like, what? He didn't get it, you know? I could see his eyes going, trying to process what I was told. So these things live on, and it's amazing that you guys are here, and I appreciate your support. It was awesome seeing all of you guys. Thank you.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry, who are you people again? I see, I'm sitting with all these amazing voice actors, and I do voice as well, but in the show, I didn't have a costume per se, as these guys had it more difficult than I did. I went in to audition not knowing what the hell I was going in for, number one. I was in Las Vegas working, and they flew me down to Los Angeles, and I walked into a room with 23 other people I had seen on every goddamn television show that was ever produced, and stood there and went, what the F am I doing in this room? I'm a movie actor. What the hell would I be doing here? I went in, I did the audition, I didn't move. I stood in one place and looked at 6 people, did the dialogue, and got on a plane and flew back to Las Vegas. 2 hours later, I got on another effing plane and flew back to Los Angeles to do it all again. Except there are only 12 people in the room now. And I still thought, what the am I doing in this room? So I went in and I did the audition again, and I stood there and did my thing and walked out and got on a plane and flew back to Las Vegas. They gave me a whole day this time. I had to come back to Los Angeles, and Jonathan had been sick, that's the producer. He hadn't seen me. So I got to do it with 4. I thought, this is ridiculous. Why don't they just tell me to stay in Las Vegas? I'm not going to get the job. I have no idea what it is. I didn't know what the Power Rangers was. I didn't watch kitty porn or whatever it was. I was totally lost at where I was. Anyway, so I did the audition, and lo and behold, I got the job. The amazing thing about it was that when they hired me as an actor to do the job the way I wanted to do it. So I actually got to decide a lot of how Ransik was. And the one thing I never wanted him to be was a cartoon character. I really wanted him to be real, in as much as we could make him, coming from a universe we don't know, but I wanted him to have all these different sides. You know, he had to have feelings, you had to feel sympathy for him, you had to be afraid of him. And the writers got into it. They gave a backstory to the character. If you remember, he had 3 episodes where they went back to explain how he became the way he was and why he was always drinking the serum and so forth and so on. They were amazing. They did a 2-part episode based on one of the films that I did, which was just incredible to be in. I had so much fun sending myself up. It was kind of fun to look at myself and go, God, you are so big-headed, you asshole. It was really enjoyable. The show itself, I loved. The cast that I worked with, we all became this family. We loved each other. We had so much fun doing the show. I'll take a little story which was really funny. The first day I arrived on set, I knew nobody. I had never met the cast. I had never met anybody. I was in my trailer, and this gorgeous blonde girl came running across between trailers, leapt into my arms, wrapped her legs around my waist and went, God, you're gorgeous, who are you? And I went, I'm the bad guy, and I think I killed your boyfriend. And she got off my body and looked at me and went, I don't like you at all. I walked away, and that was my introduction to Erin Cahill, who to this day is my most favourite human being on this earth. Love her to death. And that's what it was like doing that show. I worked with Koichi, who is one of the most wonderful human beings to work with as a director and an action coordinator. I got to work with amazing people, and I was lucky that I could continue after these people, which had built up an amazing following that we just came in and sat on and continued the legacy, and God help us all, it's still going.
How I got the role is that I fit the suit. I've told this before, so I apologize for this. I know the story. I was in this stable of actors, of voice actors, that just worked for Saban at this point for years, at this, about 3-4 years. And so I was just given the role of Rita and directed to do, she's an evil witch, so do like the Wicked Witch of the West. So I did Rita, I'll get you, my pretty. And that's the pilot was pretty much like Margaret Hamilton from the, Wizard of Oz. And then they told me that they're replacing me because it wasn't scary enough for the kids. I said, well, that's what you asked for, so let me, do it again. And they said, no, we're gonna have an audition. And I said, okay, let me audition. They said, okay, you can audition. I was so pissed off. I went in there and I said, you want it scarier? You want it scarier? I'll give it here scarier! And unbeknownst to me, I've been doing it for 5+ years, 6 years, 7 years, 8 years, 20 years. And that's where Rita was born, was out of me being pissed off at them for not directing me the way they needed it directed in the first place.
Well, Kerry told you the story of how I got to Finster, so that's covered. And some of the monsters, you know, I was just in the right place at the right time, and Scott said, "You want to do Eye Guy?" I said, "Sure." And Goofish, you know, and Lord Zedd. So I had done Eye Guy and Goofish and all these two other incidental monsters, and about, I don't forget whether it was after the second season or during the second season, Scott said there was going to be a bunch of auditions for new monsters. I said, oh, well, let me, since I'm only doing Finster, he has 5 lines an episode, 4 lines, 2 lines, and he's up here like this in the upper registers. I'm like, I can use my lower registers for more of these monsters. So I said, let me audition for some. And on the table where the sides were was Lord Zedd. So I picked it up and said, I read through the description and the paragraph that the audition was going to be. And I said, man, can I audition for this? I thought he was just another monster. And I took it on, and some of the other stuff on, and I worked on it. And I came in and I said, well, let's drop the other ones and just do Lord Zedd. So I did Lord Zedd. Power Rangers. Blah, 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 blah. And so I can lie. Scott said, wow, that's great. Oh, he did. That's good. And so, wow, that's okay. So they sent it up the line to, and I always imagine there are like 10 to 12, I call them the nodding bobbleheads. They all have bobbleheads, and you've got to all get to 10 or 12 bobbleheads to all be nodding. And that's how you get the job. So I don't know how many of the bobbleheads nodded, but it was good enough to get Scott's secretary, Karen, called me. He said, they want to see you again. Or I want to come in and read again. So I came in and I read again, and this time I did it better. Power Rangers! Blah, 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 blah. Scott said, wow, that's great. So they sent it up the line, and I don't know what the bobbleheads were doing, but they came back again and said, listen, they don't think that's you. Can you come in again and read? I said, excuse me, who do they think it was? Well, they just want you to prove it's you. So okay. How far do you want to go to get a role? So I was into it that much. And so it wasn't worth saying, well, screw you, just take my 2 auditions and the gods will handle it. So I went in and did it again. Power Rangers! Blah, 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 blah. And, wow, that's great! And it went up the line again. So I'm waiting and I don't hear anything, so I called Scott and said, what's going on with this? I've done it 3 times, and what's happening? And Scott says, well, I don't know, why don't you call Eric Rollman, who's the executive producer. So I called Eric Rollman and I said, Eric, what's going on with Lord Zedd? I've done it 3 times, do you have somebody else in mind? He said, no. We just don't think it's you. I don't believe it's you. Because they were used to hearing me do Finster and Ratso Catso on Wells Hill, and sound like this, hey, where is it? And Elgar on Hello Spencer would sound like this. She put my girlfriend on Hello Spencer. And they just weren't used to hearing something like Lord Zedd coming out of me. So I said, yeah, that's me. And I guess they wanted to know whether I could maintain the voice for a long time. And I had no idea it was going to be long. I thought he'd be in and out 2-3 episodes maybe at the most. Because they were taking so much care. He wasn't just, I thought it was just make my monster grow and he'd grow and then he'd get rid of him. So I said, no, finally, I said, no, that's me. And finally, I guess a week later came down and Scott's secretary, Karen, called me and said, you got the job. So it was a long, arduous path, but I stuck to it, and it was just hard work and diligence and a little bit of luck, and there it is.
King Mondo was gonna come up next door. I was doing Hal Stewart on The Masked Rider, and Scott said, would you like to audition for this? Now I thought the usual Power Rangers, you know, you do an episode and then they blow you up. Yeah, and they actually blew Mondo up like 3 times, so I thought it was done like 3 times. He kept coming back, and the machinist said, yes, he'll be back. It's like, cool, I thought, great. And but they brought me in, and then they let me read them, and a couple of weeks later I got it. But you know, the cool thing is, one of the questions you asked is, what do we do between takes? What do we do between times? And I don't know how many people knew that I'm a school teacher.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow. Wow. And Mondo is in the room. What? It was always me.
Mine's real boring. Scott called me, I read for it, I got it. See how it's done, guys. The only thing I would say is prepping for the role was very easy. You drove once from Hollywood to Valencia. And you were able to play a villain movies.